Welcome. Good afternoon from Nigeria.
Good afternoon. Great to be here.
Great. So once again, would like that when it's your turn to speak, or if possible, all through the program, can we please leave our cameras on so that our people know who we are speaking with? Thank you. Good to see your face.
Hey. It's good to be here. Hey, Dr. Yusri. Good.
Yes, good.
Good
so everyone,
evening.
now we published on Facebook, so we can start now.
Awesome. So we're live streaming on Facebook.
Yes. Now
Good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Nigeria. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are all over Africa. Good morning, wherever you are all over the world. Welcome to Maximizing Opportunities in AfCFTA, brought to you by the Egyptian Businessmen Association, the Egyptian African Businessmen Association. And with me today, we have our chairman, we have our able speakers, which I will introduce properly in due time. I want you to know that this is being live streamed on Facebook, and we'll all get opportunity to ask a question. Also, we have an interpreter in the house who's going to be interpreting in Arabic. So if you're joining us from Egypt or from any of the Arabian countries, please feel free to know that you are going to hear what we're saying clearly in your own language, because we have an able interpreter in the house. Once again, allow me to introduce to you Dr. Yusri Eshawawi, the chairman, the visionary, and the great personality that I've come to know of the Egyptian African Businessmen Association. He's going to start by giving us his opening speech, welcoming all of us to this African conference. And I must say that this program we're having here today is not just a brainwave, but it's an aftermath, a follow-up of a conference we had last year, which was a Nigerian Business Day, where we had the opportunity to introduce Nigerian businesses to the rest of Africa. We discovered that most of our Nigerian enterprises were not export ready. And so we decided to have an export ready conference while highlighting AfCFTA, because that is what is happening now. But Chairman has rightly pointed out that we have to have realistic discussions here today, not just textbook discussions. In light of what is going on with Ukraine and Russia, what does it mean for Africa? How do we go on from here? So I trust that our able speakers are here to take it away and to lead us all through it. Chairman, please, you have the floor. And please, every of our speakers have 10 minutes each, except for Mr. Francis, because he's the AfCFTA representative here in Nigeria, and he has 20 minutes to tell us what AfCFTA is, how we can do with it. So like I said, we're going to have Mr. Francis first after the chairman. Then we have Dr. Oloriboye Ajayi follow him quickly. And then we'll take some questions, and then we'll move on to Mr. Victor. We have Mr. Ju, and then Mr. Shehu finishes up for us. Thank you, everyone. Welcome once again. And I trust that you're going to have the most beneficial time this evening. You're welcome, Chairman. Please, over to you, sir.
First of all, thank you very much, Tosun, for all the things you are doing for cooperation between all over African continent. As you know, you are one of my team, and you are one of the leader in Nigeria to represent us. So thank you very much for everything you are doing. And first of all, I would like to thank you for the government in both Egypt and Nigeria, and the both ambassadors, His Excellency here or there. So I thank also our commercial attaché and all our members in the private sector. Today is the one day of the private sectors between both countries. And of course, I need to welcome with all the speakers and Mr. Francis and all the other speakers. They are coming from Nigeria to discuss and to handle the points between each other about the challenges. What is the challenges between all over countries, especially the private sectors, in to practical trading and international trading according to the AfCFTA and Africa Trade Agreement. So this is the day. We put the day because we are believe 100% that Nigeria and Egypt is around 30% of total population in the African continent, and around 31 or 32% of the GDP, And we need to increase our relationship between not only Nigeria and Egypt only, but between Nigeria, Egypt, Nigeria, Tunis, Nigeria, Morocco, Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt. And we need to have to improve the relationship between international trading, especially from private sector point of view in this continent. This is a rare time for us. Now, I think all the circumstances and world circumstances, they are very increasing to the challenges. We are facing a lot of challenges now in economic situation, and this is a rare time for Africa. This is a rare time to be to give us alarm how we can utilize our resources, how we can reutilize our resources, how we can expand our cooperation, how we can know each other, how we can know ourselves more and more. So this is a rare time, and this is a good time for us to go in the right track and right direction. I think all the leaders or the presidents in all over Africa now, they know very well the tasks, and they know very well how we can jump up by the continent to a very good position. Now we discuss about agriculture and agricultural product and the farmers and African farmers. Now we discuss about the climate change, and now we discuss about some problems, a lot of problems, but still we have the key. Africa still, yes, we have the key, but we have a lack of awareness, lack of connections, lack of communications, lack of traveling between each other, how we can trust each other, what is the challenges. Today, I think one of the good day, we know the challenges and we can listening very well to Francis, one of the leader for AfCFTA agreement from Nigeria, and we can discuss also with some models from the business models from private sector from Nigeria to know the situation and to update the situation, and we can find out a very good solution to our problems. Thank you again, Tosun. Thank you for all the speakers, and welcome by Nigeria. Nigeria, one on the big countries. We respect Nigeria well. We respect the people of Nigeria. We respect your business and your relations and your names and humans and everywhere in Nigeria. We are looking forward to do something together. We cannot play alone. Some people cannot play alone. Our private sector and our members, they are looking forward to do a very good business, is even investment or trading or whatever commercial, import and export is depend on. So now this is a rare time, and I keep the floor to the speakers, and I keep the floor to you, Tosun, and I keep the floor and with a trust 100% that you can manage a very good sessions to get a very good and very useful suggestion and recommendations, and we can take it with us on the next meeting. Next meeting will be in the new capital city in Cairo, 23 and 24 May. We invite around 150 or more than 160 of Nigerian businessmen and women and entrepreneurs, which will have a 2 and 3 days in Cairo with big business meetings and B2B meeting, matchmaking business meetings. We will organize everything here. Me, not myself, my association, with a very good association, Nigerian Economic and Social Association, Haj Mahmoud Ahmadu, and also under supervision, under auspices of the Ambassador Niora Barami, the Nigerian ambassador in Cairo, and also the commercial attaché, and also Mr. Ahab Awad, our ambassador in Nigeria. So we are ready. Now the time is ready. I know we are suffering now, we are struggling now because facing a lot of very bad circumstances over the world, but the end of the day, the speak and the time and everything will come into Africa. I believe that. So are you believe like my belief? Are you with me in my vision or not? So this we can know today everything about the Africa Trade Agreement, how we can accelerate, how we can push up, how we can find out opportunities. Thank you again, Tosun. Thank you very much, all of you. And we can start. And I wish very good day and a very successful day between both parts. Thank you very much.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Chairman, for that awesome speech. Thank you for the huge responsibility you have put on me this evening. I trust that by the end of this conference, we would have moved Africa further in the agenda of 2063 of the AU, we would have gone further in maximizing or knowing what to do in maximizing the opportunity after. And thank you also for respecting Nigeria, because we respect Egypt as well. If it is true that civilization comes from Egypt, then we owe Egypt a lot. So, and we're so looking forward to that trade mission in May. So guys, I'm inviting everyone, please go back to your organizations. Let's mobilize ourselves and let's be in Egypt, May 23rd and 24th. And let's come for this, I believe, not just an African conference, but a world conference where we can have B2B connections and we can know what exactly is going on our continent. Thank you very much, sir. So with that said, you made a very vital point about awareness. Yes, AfCFTA has been thrown around a lot, but a lot of people still don't know what it is. How does I was on a UN-sponsored conference over the weekend, and the question that keeps coming up, the woman in Nigeria, the woman, the farmer, the processor, the one who is packaging these products and exporting them, how can she know what AfCFTA is about, and how can she maximize it beyond the technical terms, beyond all that is being said around it? Mr. Francis, we're going to listen to you now, but please allow me to read your profile. Mr. Francis Anatogu is a senior special assistant to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on public sector matters and secretary of the Nigeria's National Action Committee on African Continental Free Trade Area. In that role, he has the secretariat that coordinates Nigeria implementation of the AfCFTA. He was the secretary of the Presidential Committee that conducted impact and readiness assessment and stakeholder engagement that resulted in Nigeria joining the African Continental Free Trade Area. In earlier roles prior to joining the public sector, he advised companies in the energy and communication sectors on strategy, operations improvement, and project management. Mr. Francis started his career in the oil and gas industry with international companies and worked in diverse roles across the exploration and production value chain around the world. He studied mechanical engineering at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and has an MBA from the George Business School, University of Cambridge. Mr. Francis Anatogu, it's such a pleasure to have you here today. I know it's been a busy one for you, and we're so glad to have you here. Welcome again this evening.
Thank you very much, Tosin. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, our chairman. It's a pleasure to be with you all this evening. Can you hear me, Tosin? Just
clearly, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'm glad that this is happening. And the singular reason is this is a trade agreement among nations. So no matter what we do in Nigeria, getting ourselves ready and implementing the agreement, when tire hits the road, goods and services will start moving across borders. So the nation-to-nation regional chambers of commerce like this one has a very important role to play. And I'll talk about these roles in a second, but I'm happy that this is happening. I'm happy that there is a trade mission plan, because indeed, one of the key things that for us to get the advantages or the benefits that AfCFTA offers, we need to make the connections. Businesses and countries need to make connections, because then it is only then that we can genuinely start building the regional value chains, supplying one another components, semi-finished products and finished products, and even more importantly, contributing to the products that other countries export to the rest of the world. We do not need to all compete, but there are opportunities that we can leverage to collaborate so that we, yes, get access into the African market, but very importantly, leverage one another to get into the global value chains. So I think let me just quickly recap what the AfCFTA is about. Before getting into the details, I think about it really is a single market, is creating a single market for a trade of made in Africa goods and services. It will facilitate, it will require free movement of persons to be as effective as we want it to be. Free movement of persons, capital, investments. It is, and this free movement of persons and capital will help us to be more competitive as well, in addition to providing the opportunities for investments. But also very important is promote industrial development. And here is because all African countries are import dependent. Yes, we do a lot of it. Well, we do some export, but virtually every African country is largely import dependent. So this provides us the opportunity to promote industrial development. And when this works very well, the target is to get into what we have a customs union, where we all have the same tariff and set tariffs for countries outside Africa. In terms of how it's been negotiated to date, it's been conducted in phases, and which is why it's a major undertaking, really, a major undertaking. And the first phase, which the agreement has been negotiated, and we are now negotiating the details like the rules of origin and all of that. They are taking a lot more time, and will take some more time as well as we get into the operationalization phase. But in parallel, it's the commencement of negotiation of investment policy, competition, and intellectual property rights, and as well as digital economy, which themselves will power everything that we're doing under the phase one. Trade has started under AfCFTA. We have the mandate to start trading, but there are some gaps. The rules of origin negotiations, we've only achieved 88%, but the decision has been taken for us to proceed with those 88% while we are closing out the remaining 12%, which means that much sooner than later, the customs of the participating countries will publish updated tariff books, and trade can then start to happen. But these benefits that we're talking about under AfCFTA, what form will it take? The first form is removal of tariff on goods that we share that we trade amongst ourselves. The interesting thing, if you look at what we have today, is that amongst ourselves, the tariffs are higher than tariff between some countries in Africa and others in European Union or other parts of the world. So bringing that and giving us that access to the market, preferential access to the market. The second part to it is harmonization of policies, regulations, and standards. So essentially, if we operate on the same standards, then it's easier for us. If you meet the standards of one country, you almost automatically meet the standards of the other countries. And if you mutually recognize certificates and so on, then achieving a certificate in one country gives you access to other countries as well. The third part is rules of origin, which in simple term is African content. And that is how we can build the regional value chain. So if you take an example, and what that means is that every product that we will trade will have a minimum percentage of that is made in Africa, a minimum percentage of the components or processes that you can trace to Africa. And what that means is that if today you're getting 100% of what you need from outside Africa, then you must identify suppliers from within Africa to at least meet that threshold, which then means that we must start identifying suppliers in country within Africa. Now, what this I also talked about, and this really will lay the foundation for us to then migrate to targeting product areas where other countries have competitive advantage that we can explore. For instance, if you think about Egypt, Egypt does a lot in the textile and garments, and leather, textile and garments, and Egypt exports to the rest of the world. So can we supply them some components, some raw materials? Can we develop relationships along those lines? Can we develop relationship along other lines, other sectors? Egypt is also does a lot in pharmaceuticals, but there are opportunities across sectors. So I'm just using this as an example. So what do we need to do? What kind of agreements do we need to have beyond that is enabled by this AfCFTA agreement? What are the barriers? What are the practical barriers that businesses face? Because we need to identify these barriers, then we need to engage at private sector level, at the government to government level, to actually say, these are the barriers that Egyptian companies face coming into Nigeria, investing in Nigeria. These are the things you must do. And you also, at the private sector level, as a Chamber of Commerce, identify the issues and the challenges that your members face, and then try to see how it can be solved, some at bilateral level, but some at multilateral levels. And when we do all of these, obviously, the cost of transaction will come down, and value of traded products will increase. And the target is that in the next 10 years, we should be able to double our trade amongst ourselves, which currently is around 15%. I guess this is for us in Nigeria, just to make a case, why is this important for us in Nigeria? And the answer is very simple. This is a rough estimate of what Africa imports from the rest of the world on an annual basis. And if you put it in context of what makes up the giant of Africa, we export about $70 billion of crude oil per annum. So really about 10% of Africa's imports. So if we actually then take 10% of reduce Africa's import from the rest of the world by 10%, we will be doubling our export trade. And if you look and see the opportunities, it cuts across, it's mind-blowing, across manufacturing, energy, agriculture, services. Services is a huge one, and AfCFTA is liberalizing the services sectors in 5 key areas: financial services, communication services, travel and tourism, business services, and transportation. These alone, we depend a lot on foreign companies, and there's a lot that we can do there, and the reasons are clear. And when you think about services, again, one of the key things, talking about awareness, understanding the various modes of supply and how it applies to you as a company is important. especially now with the digital infrastructure and digital trade that we have today, and understanding where the opportunities are is critical. And that is one takeaway for businesses. You need to understand what is your export strategy. For us, for our businesses in Nigeria, with the way we've been in recession twice in the past 5 years, every time the oil price went down, it's clear to us that we have, from an exchange rate perspective, we are competitive. We stand a good chance to export. The second part to it is that to maintain, to hedge against such exchange rate risks, then we need to export. So really, it's about building that awareness of export. And by the way, the margins that you get from export, it's in a lot of cases will be higher. So it is something, it's new for us in Nigeria, because traditionally and up to now, the bulk of our export is crude oil. And when you look at it, these are what you're seeing on your screen are some of the products that Africa imports, a minimum of $1 billion per annum. So, and some of them, for us in Nigeria, some companies are already exporting. So, and really, we are moving from the question, we are moving from the lamenting about all the issues that we have, which are credible, very serious issues. But the question now is, what are these companies that are exporting now doing that we need to do as companies? Because some people have found a way around all the challenges that we talk about today. So how do we talk about these challenges? Because in the way things work, the more you work, the more people get involved, the costs will come down, the barriers will come down, the awareness will grow. And that's there's no shortcut to that. So these are just some of the products, because I get asked the question, so what exactly? And some of these you will recognize. Some our Egyptian partners will need some of these products, and these are just some. There are a whole lot as well in services as well. And I think also very important, and this is just an example, and I'll stop sharing at this stage, is we need to look at it from a value chain perspective. If Egypt is very mature in asset management, for instance, maybe we should focus on payments and support their asset management segment, and then we can collaborate, or insurance or banking. There are areas that we can work together, and this is why this collaboration, this meeting is important. So where are we going to collaborate? And it will come from the businesses. It will come from government to government, actually deciding that in this area, this is what I give you, this is what you give me. That is how, when we finish all the agreement that involves 54 countries, at the end of the day, it needs to get down to bilateral trade between countries. So this is, again, why I think this meeting is very, very important. Eventually, we need to work with you and your members to actually say, what are those products that you are interested in? From our Nigerian end, from our Egyptian end, what are the barriers? What are the targets that we need to set for ourselves? What are the barriers that we see? What are those things that we must have in place at the regulatory level, at the business level? You've mentioned access to finance and so on, but these are the practical things that we must get down to drive trade. And these are things that you are very familiar with in the business world, setting strategies, defining what you do, business plans, and so on. At the end of the day, this is how this collaboration will need to work at your members level, between the chambers of commerce and us at the government, and here in Nigeria and at the Egyptian side. And then the partnerships, identifying those companies that will do the actual trade and tracking and making sure that all the objectives that we set for ourselves are realized. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not suggesting that this is going to be an easy ride. All I'm saying is that this is how we are looking at it. This is how we think that for us to be successful, these are the steps that we must take. And so I am happy that this is happening. I thank all of you, and I look forward to engaging at the chamber level, but also at individual companies level across the divide, across the borders to push the AfCFTA agenda. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Francis. That was really, really very explicit, so straight to the point and very insightful. Thank you so much. So yeah, I have just one question, because I would like for you to stay on. I'm sure a lot of people have other questions, and please, all our viewers on Facebook, on the Zoom call here, I know most of our people are on Facebook, just a few people are allowed here on the Zoom, and that's okay. But please, if you have questions, please post them in the chat box. We would definitely like to take your questions. But first question for you, sir. In light of all that you have said today, I'm very particular about transportation within Africa, because it is easier to ship things to Canada, to UK and America than it is to ship from one African country to the other. I'm aware that there's a single African airline and all of that is in the works, but how can we begin to leverage on that? Should all these rules of origin handbook come forth earlier than we expect, and people are ready to maximize after? What can we do to help transportation, especially for women across borders? There's a lot that is happening across the borders, and women are crying out seriously. What can we do for the women, and how can people begin to, because what really makes these goods expensive, we have found out, is transportation. How do we mitigate this, and what's the way around it? You are muted, sir.
Realize it. Yeah, thank you very much. I think yeah, transportation is key. The good news, especially coming from us in Africa, that Nigerian airlines are expanding on a daily basis, domestically, but also across the region. So what that means then is that we need to fill their cargo holds, for instance. So that in itself is an opportunity, and we can't wait for it to grow organically. So there are some products that lend themselves to air transportation, and this is just an example of an opportunity that can be explored between countries. So point-to-point transportation, maybe, and it's been talked about. It hasn't been. We're still having conversations around it. So some kind of point-to-point transportation and clearing our boat, and so that we can move goods freely. This is just an example. Now, but there are other examples as well in maritime. But the important thing is that we need to then identify the products. We need to identify the people that do these products. We need to engage them. We need to have some kind of an arrangement. So an arrangement or an agreement to actually move these goods. So again, these are opportunities that we need to explore. And my gut feel is that if we can articulate this, and we have investors, they should be able to take this on, as long as governments give their backing. When talking about women in trade, again, what I talked about covers everybody. For women in trade, and a lot of time we talk about women, we talk about SMEs. Now, and so as we implement and remove tariffs on the products, then you would not have any need to actually smuggle, or so more of them will be coming into the formal sector, and the cost by itself will start to come down. But essentially, for us, and that is not transportation, this is about the capacity of our SMEs. We've got, the way we look at it right now is that the prize is in scale up, and for you SMEs to not do scale. So aggregating these SMEs and helping them connect to the supply network of bigger companies or aggregators who can then take these products from them, add value, package them, and all of that, and then export. The other advantage is that these are the bigger companies that have the capacity to do the documentation associated with the rules of origin and so on. These are the companies that would do all the other export compliance documentation and so on, and even embark on these trade missions that you talk about, right? So these are some of, even embark on these trade missions that, yeah. So from a transportation perspective, I think I've given you my initial thoughts. There's still, in Nigeria, we have a sea link, which is like, is a maritime project to see how we can move goods across the west coast. But it's just an example with AfCFTA and working, trying to get a case study done. Then we can replicate it amongst African countries. And if we can do it between Egypt and Nigeria, why not? Sorry, yeah, that's me done, Tosin.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So I like what you said about the transportation challenge, that is not really a challenge, but it's an opportunity for the private sector to leverage it. And I think that is one of the things we'll be highlighting as opportunities that AfCFTA brings. So we are calling on investors from the private sector to look at how they can help us mitigate this transportation challenge across Africa. That's very awesome. Also, well, please kindly help us look into, because there's been several cases of women being harassed at the borders, I must say. So please, if there's any way you can help us take a message back to the Secretariat, is to actually look at what is going on across the borders, even from Aflao here, the Sina border here, especially where women are concerned. And also you mentioned value chain, the prospect of finding your place along the value chain. I would like to exemplify this is what's going on with shea butter. Nigeria has the largest production. I won't say production now. We have the largest crop produce of shea butter in the whole world, right? What Nigeria has alone is bigger than what the rest of the world has. Yes, Ghana is the largest exporter of shea butter because they have the A-grade processing facility. So yeah, Nigerians can, what you're saying now is finding ourselves in the value chain. We can grow the shea butter, take it to Ghana, they can process it with their facility, and then what gets out of it is made in Africa grade A shea butter, right? And of course, with all the rules of origin sorted and all of that. Thank you so much, sir. And of course, Egyptian African.
If I could add to that just 1 second.
Yes.
So it's good to move it from, that does not mean that Nigeria should not, have some kind of processing. Because you need to look at the margins. But beyond that, if you look at the numbers for shea butter, be it A grade or Z grade, and put them all together, I think it's about 7 billion or thereabout, I can't remember. But if you look at the market for cosmetics and other derivatives of shea butter, they run into tens of billions of dollars globally. So having that, moving it, packaging what we have now is important, but actually going beyond into the
value adding,
the value adding. That's where the key opportunities are. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you. That was a very good interruption. Thank you so much. So we should look not just into producing raw materials, which we have done over the years, but into value adding, processing, and packaging. And we're going to get into all of that this evening. So please stay with us, don't go anywhere. You mentioned bilateral trade. And it has been said that if you have not won nationally, you can't win regionally. And you have to win regionally before you can win continentally. And we're here, Egyptian African Businessmen Association is here to facilitate bilateral trade. And we're happy that I've opened up your office to us, that we can come to you whenever we need you, either as an organization or as an individual company. So please, everyone, this is Mr. Francis giving us his word. And please keep a recording of this so that you can always show it back to him and say, sir, you gave us your word. Thank you so much for coming. And please do stay around should we have other questions for you. Quickly, we'll be moving on to, sorry, before you leave, you said that exporting of services is very key and is a very good opportunity. And that's what's going to lead me to bring in our next speaker in the person of Dr. Oloriboye Ajayi. She has a very fantastic profile that, if you don't mind me reading this evening, she's a beautiful and a dynamic woman, I must say. That's not on her profile, but I'm saying that. Yeah, so Africa, women and trade and international trade. So the very right person to take us further. These words describe OBA, known for pioneering impactful projects. Dr. Oloriboye Ajayi serves as President Boundless Trade Network, BTN, a gender and trade advocacy network that collaborates with key players in the international trade space to boost the participation of women in trade and investment, with offices in Lagos, Accra, Monrovia, and United Kingdom. BTN is an official partner for the prestigious White House initiative, Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, or Lagos. As an advocate for women entrepreneurs and a driver for economic change in Africa, Olori has received numerous awards and recognitions. She was appointed in 2021 to drive the Win Her, a gender inclusion investment program on behalf of the Office of the Commissioner of Trade and Investment of Vanuatu to Nigeria and South Africa. The initiative had an attendance of 1,678 women from all over the world. The Investment Sensitization Conference, while the pilot investment education program graduated a total of 150 women for its debut edition in 2021. She has been appointed also as Mansa Ambassador by Afrexim Bank during the inclusion of African SMEs. There are so many awards that she has, but let me just say that she is also the International Visa Leadership Program and Exchange Program of the United States Department of Women in Business. She was internationally recognized and nominated for the International Fellowship. With her digital platforms and podcasts, NEO, Olori educates and motivates young people interested in self-development and entrepreneurship, of which I've been a beneficiary. When it comes to personal development, Olori is who to go to. And I'm so pleased to have you here this evening, madam. Welcome, everyone, with a drum roll, Oloriboye Ajayi.
Thank you so much, Tosin. I'm really excited to be here today and to be a part of this very timely discussion. I'd like to thank Dr. El Shakari for the invitation as well, and EABA for this forum, and of course, the topic of discussion. If we keep having it for the next 5 years, there's nothing wrong. I say to people, we have to keep talking about AfCFTA because it's all part of the sensitization that is needed, and also because trade agreements of this magnitude require nothing less than 15 years to fully see the benefits. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation, and also because we're having it with the Egyptian association, as well. So Tosin gave me an interesting topic, one of which I've been a huge, I'd say, advocate for, because I really do believe that exporting exportable services is going to be something that unlocks, the Africa that is emerging under AfCFTA. I'm going to share my slides, if you'll permit me. I just have about 4 or 5 slides because I don't have a lot of time. So please bear with me. One moment. All right, Tosin, can you confirm if you can see my screen? Can you see my screen by any chance?
Yes.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, great. This is why you should always use your own laptop. So one moment. I'm going to get someone to help me put it on full screen in a second, if I can. It's not my own laptop, so I don't have an idea on how to work it. But so I've been given this topic on exporting exportable services. And it was one that, as I mentioned earlier, that it was really, really great for me because a lot of the opportunities that are very low hanging to an extent lie within, trade and services. So I'm just gonna rush us along. Personally, I think the significance of services, for Africa's development is generally little understood, right? So trade and services is significant for growth, productivity, poverty reduction, and creation of jobs in Africa. In most of the discussions we have where, AfTA is concerned, it's really about goods, very little on services. So I'm really happy that we can shine the light on services today. And services include a wide range of activities. At one end of the spectrum are what you might term as personal services, such as training, medical care, live artistic performances. And at the end are impersonal services, such as telecommunications, or the services embodied in manufactured products. In the case of telecommunications, for example, the service is delivered through automated equipment by a telephone company or a cable television operator. Now, because I know that I'm speaking to a wide range of business owners, right from SMEs to multinationals, as the case may be, I'm going to be oscillating between the examples I give in this quick presentation. On the other side of trade and services are informal services. Informality in general and informal cross-border trade in goods and services in particular, it's a major feature we have of the economic and social landscape in sub-Saharan Africa. And if you want to dig further, you find out that informal trade in services look like hairdressing, you have tailors, housekeepers, clergies, to the more sophisticated areas, some of which I mentioned earlier, that are professional services like, education, healthcare. All of that can all be maximized under AfTA. Now, the trade in services and related regulatory reforms are critical for growth and economic development in Africa. Services not only offer promising opportunities for export, some of which I'm going to touch on, but they are also key inputs in the production of most exportable goods and services. All right. Now, I'm going to quickly, just look at some of the examples of what can be exported: financial services, ICT, telecommunications, transportation services, trade and tourism, one of which I think is a key economic driver, trade in professional, business and technical services, entertainment industry, that's really to watch, whether in live shows, the Nollywood industry, theater events, even research and development services, cultural and recreational services, which include audiovisual. Now, most people in services never really know how they can begin to export their services. If you are in services, there are 4 main ways in which you can export your services. Mode 1 is what we call cross-border. All right, this is when the service itself crosses the border. So for example, you own a logistics company, or you're into freight of some sort. You can actually begin to move your trucks across borders, right? And begin to service other countries under AfTA. And what's amazing now is that if, you know, the tariffs have been lifted under AfTA, like Dr. Francis eloquently put it, you definitely can begin to reap those benefits immediately. When AfTA really kicked off, which I believe was January 1st of last year, Ghana, you know, went straight in and they started to export under the agreement. Likewise, Kenya, I believe South Africa have also done that. So this is already in operation. Now, what I decided to do was to show you the kinds of services that can be exported under each mode. So under cross-border, you have management consulting, ICT, marketing, engineering, that all is under mode 1, okay? Under mode 2 is consumption abroad. And this is when the consumer travels across the border. So I'll give you a good example of what that looks like. I know that some of you in Egypt may travel to other countries in the US, in the United Kingdom, or other places in the Middle East to get some form of healthcare, for example, or education for your children, or all those sort of things. So what you find is it's under like what I would term as it's being consumed abroad. That service is being consumed abroad. So it means that you have to have some office or an affiliate of some sort that is helping you provide that service on your behalf. So examples of these would be tourism and travels. It would be education and training, health services, legal. Under mode 3 is where you have commercial presence. As I just mentioned, the establishment of your office or your entity would be in the country of your choice. So if you were looking at setting up here in Nigeria, or you were looking to go to Ghana or wherever it is that you want to, you are able to export your service via your establishment in that country. That would look like, for example, EcoBank in Liberia, which is where we have one of our offices. They have commercial presence there. Or you could look at Access Bank in the United Kingdom. They also have, you know, their offices there. So if you're in the financial, insurance, or construction or distribution of services, service industry, then you're able to take advantage of mode 3. In mode 4 is where you see the movement of natural persons. So this is when you, as the provider of that service, actually travel across the border. So you offer, for example, in this category, you're looking at things like arts and culture. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with one of our topmost, I'd say, in the theater space, Bolanle Austin Peters. She has recently galvanized, you know, a wonderful show and the people involved in making the show happen. And she's taken that particular show, which is around culture and around, you know, to some extent, edutainment on certain issues that are facing, you know, the African, I would say, terrain. And she's taken that and transferred it across borders, right? So you definitely can explore that, you know, the movement of natural persons if you're in any of those categories. It could be recreational, sporting, tradespeople. So that would fall into an example I'm about to go into as I go into some of the barriers of this pathways that you might find yourself in. All right, so on your screen are very interesting people. Now, of course, I haven't released their true faces, but you know, when you're looking at the barriers to service-based export, under AfTA, that could look like many things. So on your left is a hairstylist, Belvi, from the Democratic Republic of Congo, who traveled across the Tanzanian border without a valid visa or work permit to provide her hairdressing services in Dar es Salaam. At the border, she faced many hurdles, just like Tosin was explaining before. People face it, or women, I should say, face it for their goods, but they also face it in service-based export as well. So at the border, she faced many hurdles and harassment, but after bribing the officials, she managed to cross into Tanzania and now provides hairdressing services abroad. However informal it is, she's now able to do that. But I know that under AfCFTA, once we remove all these tariffs and the customs union and everything is sorted, and we're able to come to this really truly free market, issues that Bellevue is facing will become a thing of the past. Now, in the middle, we have Francis. He is a Zambian accountant based in Lusaka, and he cannot provide cross-border accounting services to his clients in South Africa because his Zambian degree is not recognized there. But here is where it gets really interesting, and I strongly believe that under AfCFTA, we as the private sector have to find innovative ways to ensure that we are not looking at the barriers under, and I wouldn't say we're not looking at it, but I don't want us to concentrate too much on will AfCFTA work, won't it work? It will work if we want to find the ways for it to work. So what Francis did was he found a unique solution. He partnered with local firms in South Africa to whom he sends draft tax returns digitally. All right, so the local firms in South Africa certify conformity with local standards and sell the tax returns to domestic customers. And that way they're able to split the revenues with Francis. So after overcoming more than a few regulatory issues that Francis was facing, he's then able to say, oh, I do have a form of my company or services that my company offers through the collaboration. And I'm really hoping that a lot of the businesses today find unique ways of partnering with Nigerian businesses as Francis did. And the last example is Micure. Micure is a healthcare, they fall under healthcare, and they are a diagnostic center in Nigeria. Now, they faced a lot of regulatory obstacles because they are an Indian provider of this healthcare. Because of the lack of skilled care professionals, they were, coupled with heavy licensing and recognition requirements for foreign medical qualifications in Nigeria, the company was unable to offer a whole range of services that they would have loved to. So what did they do? They came up with another innovative solution. Instead of treating patients in Nigeria, the company offers medical tourism, arranging for the transport of patients to India for super specialty surgical procedures for life-threatening diseases. So I just think that, we really have to find a strong, and I would say more than anything, innovative ways of ensuring that we, push through the barriers that we see on the onset and look for collaborative ways. Now, I really want to focus in my last few minutes on what I think is one of the, I would say, explosive opportunities, which is in transportation under the AfCFTA. And I'm going to focus on it because it is truly, one moment, I have to switch that off. I apologize for that alarm that went off. So I'm going to focus my attention now to one of the low-hanging areas of opportunity under AfCFTA, which is transportation. As we know, the cost of moving goods around Africa is generally higher than the rest of the world. Late last year, lorries carrying, amongst other things, cobalt from, I believe it was Congo, copper from Zambia, tea from Malawi. They were literally crawling for miles as they waited to cross the Limpopo River in Zimbabwe into South Africa. And many lorries were there for days. I'm sure that a lot of countries have these similar stories. Even in Nigeria here, we also have that. And because transport in Africa is often unpredictable and unreliable, there was something that Mr. Francis mentioned earlier, which I think is superb, because in the challenges lies the opportunities. And the cost of transport, we know right now, is higher than the value of the goods being transported in the first place in some areas. And if you ask me, I think with the removal of tariffs, whether import or export level, you then begin to ask yourself, well, if they're going to remove, if the first protocol applies first to tariffs, and tariffs directly affect transportation, then it might be a very good area to look into as a first hand. As I said, this problem does offer huge opportunities, however capital intensive they may seem. According to the latest estimates by the Economic Commission for Africa, the AfCFTA is expected to increase intra-African trade in transport services by nearly 50%. Now that is huge compared to other areas that you might want to go into or that you're already into. The estimates, for example, on the implications of the AfTA on demand for transport, infrastructure, and services, which was released just last month, state that AfCFTA in absolute terms, over 25% of intra-Africa trade gains in services would go to transportation alone, just transportation alone. And nearly 40% of the increase in Africa's services production would be in transport. Now, these are all things for us to consider as we think of, okay, what are the immediate benefits that we can see and in which services, in which sector, and of course, will this be? I just want to give a few examples of what this sounds like. So right now, we all know that Africa's road network is, I would say, one of the ones that is highly used at the moment, even though that needs to change. But Africa's road network will begin to see significant, how will I say it? We need to find other ways of transportation. And I'm going to mention a few of them, but I think it was in this same report, I believe I read that a lot of the AfCFTA protocols that are currently going to be implemented, for example, with regards to transportation, will increase traffic flows on all transportation modes. So that's road, rail, maritime, and air. Roads currently carry the lion's share.
Our time is going.
It's up. Oh, okay. So just 2 more minutes, I'll be done. Is that okay, Tosin? Do I have 2 more minutes?
All right. Okay. All right then. Please go ahead.
Okay. All right. So roads, as I said, carry the lion's share, but AfTA provides opportunity to build, railway network, but also for those who are in maybe freight, you're looking at trucks for bulk cargo, literally spiraling out of control by the time, this trade agreement is fully operational. So that is a very key area for looking at the low-hanging fruits, if you ask me. But another thing to just note here is, as I said, the rail, air, and maritime are other areas of where opportunity lies for transport. Now, for how this benefits for women, I'll just say that in a few seconds. Now, as we know, most of the informal trade happens by women, but also services. In the service sector, we find that women make up a lot for that. As the implementation of AfTA continues and the protocols are being implemented, we trust that this will provide access to trade opportunities. It will stimulate wage gains by up to 10.5% in the first few years of this implementation. We also hope that it will boost women-owned businesses and address gender equality issues as well. I thank you all for listening, and I hope that in some shape or form, we're able to connect and, yeah, to an extent, find ways of collaborating. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Oloriboye Ajayi. That was very insightful and very expository. And one of my takeaway is that we need to learn how to collaborate to mitigate around the bottlenecks that cross-border trade might bring to us. So we should not focus on the challenges, but look for ways around it that we can leverage opportunities. So collaboration for me is key. Also, AfCFTA should begin to look at helping people for service exports to work effectively. We have to look at visas and work permits and recognition of certificates across Africa.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but I have a question though. How do we go around language? Because even in Nigeria alone, there are several languages. I know basically we focus on the Francophone and the Anglophones, but I know there are so many, even across borders. So, and services cannot be done without communication. So how do we find our ways around language?
The language barrier is definitely something that I know has caused a bit of slow motion in some areas for those in services. But again, if you look at the case of the gentleman I highlighted as an example, who provides accounting services. So he had to, find a local partner to be able to pass that barrier, because he has the skill, he has the qualification, he just needs a step. And that's why it will no longer be something we are encouraging people to collaborate with local partners. It will be mandatory in order for us to actually enjoy the benefits of cross-border trade or even after.
Awesome. So, and I remember Mr. Francis also mentioned something about having aggregators front for you. And that's why aggregators like Borderless Trade Network and Egyptian African Businessmen Association can actually be a voice for you, because we have contact persons across Africa. I've seen that you're in Morovia, you're in so many other countries as well. So yes, since we have this network, you can leverage this network using contact persons in all those countries to front for them. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Olori. Please do stay around. I'm sure there'll be other questions for you, but we have to move on quickly. Please, our speakers, can we all stick to the 10 minutes mark so that we can have everyone speak this evening? Thank you so much. Once again, my name is Tosin Shosonya. I'm the country representative of the Egyptian African Businessmen Association here in Nigeria, and our chairman all the way from Egypt is still live here with us. Also, we're translating this in other languages, so please just look for the language icon and choose your preferable language. We have Arabic and we have English, and it's available for every one of us so that we can all mitigate this language barrier. So quickly, we move on to the man who has been exporting himself. I know he has exported to several countries. I want to know, has he exported to Africa? What are the challenges you've been having? What are the opportunities therein? This is the person of Mr. Victor Chukwugo Okudili, the CEO of Voc Royal Resources, Nigeria Limited, exporter of Nigerian food products in melon powder, ogbono, chili pepper, Cameroon scent pepper, cashew nuts, and all of that. His products have been verified. They are healthy. He's also in partnership with the Duru Bulgur of Turkey. He has been exporting and importing a lot. And I know he has gotten a lot of awards and a lot of recognition from the Bank of Nigeria and all of that. So please, make welcome this evening. Mr. Victor, are you here with us? Can you please turn on your video? Mr. Victor Okudili Chukwugo. Welcome again this evening, sir. Please unmute yourself. We can hear you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sophie. I really appreciate it. It's my pleasure meeting you. I've been finding it difficult to join this class, but I have to invite my engineer to help me do the whole thing on. So I'm happy to be here. I think you have my slide with you. Maybe you can help me put up the slide.
Okay, Noah, please, can you help us share his slides?
Yeah.
While we're waiting for his slides, let me give you guys a bit background about Mr. Victor. Okay, so I went to university to study food engineering. I learned all the theory, first degree. I learned all the machineries and all of it that was involved. But it was until I came to Oyinbo Market, a local market in Lagos, where this man had a shop, and from a wheelbarrow, he grew from a wheelbarrow pusher. He grew an export business that has built a massive real estate, trained several children abroad. And I'm like, sir, you're not even speaking my kind of English. How are you doing this thing? I went to school to study this thing. I had to go and learn the practical aspect of what I learned in school, right there in the market in Oyinbo. So I make bold to say that it's not enough. We have to collaborate to stay in the classrooms and learn English. You have to know how these things are done by the people who have done the legwork, and they know how it is being done practically. So that is Mr. Victor for you. Over to you, sir. Can we please share his slides? EABA Egypt, please, we're waiting for you to help share his slides. But please go on while we are waiting for your slides, sir.
Okay.
رجاء
thank you.
حضرتك تقدر تفتحه بشكل مباشر
Oh, thank you, Tosi.
من خلال الضغط على
It's
الشير.
a pleasure, like I said. I've been into food exports for a while, for a decade. And just like you said, we started from the wheelbarrow.
Mr. Victor, how are you?
Grow it to I'm fine. I'm fine.
Sorry, if you can open your presentation via click on share screen. Can you?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Oh, I thought I sent the presentation to you, thinking that you help us do the stuff.
It's okay.
I had no arrangement for that.
I will try. Can you see it now?
Okay.
It's available now.
Mr. Victor, can you see the presentation now?
No, it's not available now.
Yes, we can see it on the screen. Yeah, just look at the screen, Mr. Victor. It's there on the screen.
Okay, yes, I can see it now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please make it quick, sir, please. Thank you.
Okay. So we have exported to a lot of countries, South Africa. Okay, next slide. So I can just, within 15 minutes, I should be done. Next slide.
Actually 10, please. Thank you. So that we can ask you questions.
Next slide. Okay. Yeah, exports of, next slide, okay. Exports of food. Export of food is one of the basic needs and necessity of life. And we have samples of our products that we package. Somebody talked about packaging, because for you to export, you need to have good packaging. And while we export to other countries, there are a lot of documentations that need to be done before you can export to other countries. And very important, you have to know what the countries, what they need. Like for instance, the African countries, I know that that of certificate of country of origin is important, and also the health certificate from the Ministry of Agriculture is also important. And for you to start exporting from Nigeria, you need to have the limited company for you to be an exporter, which we have. At the same time, you have to register with the Nigerian Export Promotion Council and have your product sampling, and I think that registration covers for 2 years. And you also need Nafta number for all your products. And that will be done by the Nafta. You need to also visit them for them to have your products registered. And hello?
Hello, we can
Hello?
hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So 1 minute. Okay. You have to register with Nigerian Export Promotion Council, then the Nafta. At the same time, you have to open a domiciliary account in any of the bank that you of your choice. And also, well, there are some of the trade associations that are affiliated with the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, like the chambers, Ministry of Commerce and Industries. They are also important for you to have your export done correctly. Then for you to export, your products are ready. You open your NSP form. You have your performer invoice. These are documentations. And you have insurance certificate, the bill of lading, commercial invoice, packing list, and the certificate of origin, like I mentioned, and the clean certificate of inspection. That clean certificate of inspection will be issued to you after all the customs and other cobards have done their inspection in all your goods that you'll be exporting. They will issue you that certificate. And you also have certificate of health. The health certificate will be issued to you by the Ministry of Agriculture, that are in charge and the regulatory body, that their certificate is basic for your export. They're very important when we are saying export. I think one of the greatest things that you need to also do in the quality of the product you are exporting can also speak volume to your product and to you as a company that want to do export. You have to look out for products that that can stand the test, the pressures of where you are taking it to. You have to look out for sand-free, odor-free, moisture level of the products. These are issues that can be a hindrance to your export, especially when you are taking these things on containers or by road. If they are not okay, before it gets to the destination, you begin to have another story. So quality is very, very important in exports. Whether you are dealing chili pepper, whether you are dealing melon and all those stuff, you have to be sure that
Mr. Victor, are you there?
so these are countries where you can export to. We have also export to. We have US, UK, South Africa, as we mentioned, Nigeria, Tunisia, Morocco, Egypt, Libya. These are some of the African countries where you can take some of these things by either by road or by sea or by air. These are three basic areas where you can export to. So very important, you have to don't just say export, you have to do a deliberate studies in where you are taking these products to. Like for instance, you are exporting to Togo or to Ghana, you need to know what is their demand. You not just take products you off the road or you off or by sea. Hello?
Mr. Victor, thank you. Yeah. Can you hear us?
So very, very important. You have to know what they need. It's not just exporting. Like we're talking about Egypt business, we should be able to know what they need and be able to know their standard. It's very important to any country where you want to export to. You must know their standard. Like for instance, you're exporting to US. For you to take your things to US, you have to know their standard. You have to know that they have FDA. That FDA should be the regulatory body that before you bring things to the US, you must be SDA compliance. The same thing, you are bringing things to Nigeria, you have to know that we have Nafta. These are the standard that you are bringing things to Nigeria. You have to comply to Nafta standard. So very, very important in export. It's not just taking things, load in a container or load by air. And at the end of the day, if you sound that Nigerian products are bad, Nigerian products, somebody mentioned sort of, what is it called, Ghana here, that most of the product, they have this, they have that. Yes, it's because they actually look at the best when they want to do their export. It's not that their products are that good. I have a case where people come to Nigeria, they buy things here in the local market and take to Ghana. And from Ghana, they export it. Okay. So Nigerian products, they are good, but then the challenge is you knowing the quality of what you want to export. You be able to know that. You should be able to be very careful to be sure that whatever you are taking must be of high quality. So on the paper documentation, like I mentioned, the NSP will be given to you. You have to go to the bank where you have your domiciliary account. And as you know, that this period, your domiciliary account will be attached, is called export domiciliary account. So that account will be open and they will give, the bank will give you the NSP form. Then you fill the NSP form, it compares with what you want to export. Then you do your pro forma invoice and the insurance certificates to be sure that what you are taking will be insured, okay, either by road or by sea or by air. Then the bill of lading will be prepared by the carrier. Possibly you are going by the sea, the carrier must give you a bill of lading. Then the commercial invoice that we itemize all that you are taking from your company from Nigeria outside there. Then the packing list and the certificate of origin shows that this product is coming from Nigeria. So by the time you have all this ready, I think you are good to go. Then, like as I mentioned, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, they are there and they're actually the body that have actually helped us a lot to be where we are today. So I will want you to have that certificate attached to all that you exporting. There's some of these materials that can be taken from Nigeria to outside the world or Africa. We have gari, we have cashew nut, chili pepper, melon seed, crayfish, palm oil, breadfruit, pepper soup spice, some stockfish, soya beans. Then you have a rice called Abakaliki rice. It's also good for export. Then we have the amala, the plantain. The amala is being gotten out of dry yam. Then we have fresh vegetable, the ofada rice too, and the dry vegetable, then dry fish. All these things are all exportable products. I would just put ETC because we have a lot of things to take out of this country, and they are all good for export. So thank you for listening. My name is Victor Chukwugo. Just read the mail because I know they will have a lot of speakers. I think what I mean allocated to me 15 minutes, and I don't want to go of that 15 minutes.
Thank you very much, sir.
Resources Nigerian Limited. My warehouse and office address is at 38 10th Street near the old Diamond Bank or Access Bank in Bomato. Then you have my details. You can actually share the flyer, the presentation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Victor. Thank you so much for that very, very good presentation. It was very helpful. So yeah, you've been able to highlight for us this evening the documentations that is required, this has been a major bottleneck for a lot of SMEs from exporting, but now you have listed out for us. I want to say that, Mr. Victor, please drop your contacts in the chat box for those that might be interested. And every of our speakers, please, if you don't mind, you could leave your emails or your contacts in the chat box so that people can contact you to know more, because I'm sure people definitely want to know more about exporting services and exporting food products from Nigeria. You also mentioned that first and foremost, your business has to be registered with the CAC, that's the Corporate Affairs Commission in Nigeria. You need to know the standard requirements of the country you're exporting to. It's not just for you to, it's not just about you having a fantastic product. You need to know if it meets the standard and the quality requirements in the country you're exporting to. Thank you so much for an awesome evening. Please, I want to appeal to every one of our speakers that are here to speak. Kindly stick to time, please. We are running so short of time. I want to see how we can manage the rest of the time that we have. Mr. Victor, you have been very fantastic this evening. So please drop your contacts. I'm sure people will be glad to reach out to you because we definitely need to know more. Thank you, sir. And this is somebody who has been doing this for years. He has done it successfully for years, with or without AfCFTA. So I'm sure he can show us the way. So going forward, speaking of documentation, and he also encouraged us to get our NEPC certification as well. And we're so happy to have with us here this evening, all the way from the South region of Nigeria, a representative of the National Exports Promotion Council in the person of our very own Mr. Joe Ita. You are welcome, sir. Please allow me to go quickly through your profile. Oh gosh, it's a long one, but please allow me to summarize for the sake of time this evening. Do you mind, sir? Or do you want us to read everything, Mr. Joe?
Please go ahead.
All right, thank you.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. He's a regional coordinator of NEPC South Regional Office. Mr. Joe Ita, who was born in 1964, has obtained combined honors first degree in communication arts and English from the University of Cross River, now University of Uyo. His quest for additional knowledge pushed him to further pursue a second degree at the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, where he bagged a master's degree in international affairs and diplomacy. He has traveled far and wide, of course, defending his classification and job. He's also a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. Mr. Joe Ita has done fantastically well with the commission that is the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, and he's here with us this evening to tell us how do we maximize opportunities in NAFTA. Of course, like we've chatted behind scenes, this new trade hub that has just been created in Egypt, which I believe is in line with AfCFTA, so that Nigerians can export their products. Mr. Victor, you can now ship your products to Egypt. There's a trade house in Egypt now from which it can now get into Northern Africa and other Arabian countries. And I think that's a good one that deserves a round of applause for our dear country, Nigeria. So Mr. Joe, can you please take us further, sir, this evening on how to maximize this opportunity in NAFTA? You're welcome once again, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tosin, for the nice compare. I want to start by thanking the chairman, Dr. Yuseri Shakawi. I want to also thank Francis Anatogu. It's nice meeting you. We've not seen in a while, though we talk on phone somehow. And then to all my other resource persons, Dr. Boyajai and Victor, I welcome you all. It's a pleasure to be here and to talk actually specifically on being export ready. Please, I don't know whether my slide could be shared as well. But for the issue that the MC has raised, I want to say it's a great opportunity because I see this forum as one of the things that we need to do more often. because a new visa for development and growth in this world today is just exports. And then the only reason African countries is likely to survive all through what we are doing with AfCFTA, which I refer to as the golden made in Africa age, is to export. Because as its report said, we are doing less than 8% of trading amongst ourselves, and it calls for concern. It calls for concern because if you are not prepared to meet the opportunity that is coming with AfCFTA, then you are not going to be okay at all. Please, can I have my slides on? And then I see that there are three major actions that can befall us. The actions that can befall the continent and each of the states, if you are not ready to export, if you are not being ready, like I'm going to talk on, in what I call the 3 E's. The 3 E's of delay. Your products will be delayed wherever it should go to. If it meets the specification, it's going to be detained, a way of detention, and then it will be destroyed. Even your economy will be destroyed. So what we need to do is to have experience and exposure. An experience and exposure that we must garner so that we're able to trade amongst ourselves will only take us to the El Dorado that we are hoping to be. It looks as if we're having difficulty in bringing on my slide. Am I heard, please?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. I'm waiting for EABA Egypt to share slides, but if they don't, I will go ahead. Please just go ahead, sir.
Yes, I'm looking at the slides. If it doesn't come, should I go on?
Yeah, but you can also click on share screen if you have them with you right there. Just click on share screen and to come up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me look at the shared screen. Okay. Are you seeing it now, please? Hello, are you seeing my slides?
Yes, we can see your screen. Yes,
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Well, I've said it that I appreciate to be here to talk on the being export ready, but you threw a poser, and the poser is now that Nigeria has met a trade hub, what we call an export house in Egypt. I say we see it as a welcome development. That's why it had the support of my management. It was done by my Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Ezra, and it means that the visa for trading has been further exposed and brought to bear between Nigeria and Egypt. And it's looking as if the focus is on agricultural commodities, but we think it should be MSMEs, and then it should be maybe manufacturing products. As the day progresses, we are going to see the outline to operationalize this trade hub. There is a welcome thing. It's not going to come only in Egypt through what we call the National Export Promotion, Export Expansion Program facilities. We're also going to have this in South Africa, in Nairobi, and 1 or 2 other countries. It has started in Egypt, and that's where our chairman here is from. So talking about the being export ready, there are a lot of things. Can I move these slides? Okay, thank you. I would like to talk to the slide. Maybe I'm not going to follow what I have here. So, in what we are doing, you can see that AfCFTA, which I refer to as the golden made in Africa age, will not be possible, will not be achieved without our goods and services promoted and produced in one country, being shipped to another country amongst ourselves in a very large quantity. But you need to be export ready to get all this. done. I threw a poster here that they commonly ask questions about being export ready, which I was looking at the Nigerian situation, but it could apply to any African country, is asking yourself what products you are going to export from your country. Where are you going to source these products from? Is there any financial assistance that you can get from your government? Because when you talk of financing the exports that you will make, who are the buyers of the products? And these, among other things, are the things that you should consider to see whether it is a commercial or non-commercial exports that you need to trade amongst ourselves. I can also go to talk about why businesses, why countries do export. But because the topic is a bit simple, I'm sure I'm not going to bore you with all that. So what are the export opportunities for African countries to trade among themselves? They classify themselves into agricultural produce, agricultural commodities, manufactured, semi-manufactured products, solid minerals, arts and crafts, and particularly services that has become a very big thing recently. I loved what Dr. Boyajai was talking about services. It was quite enlightening, and it's the way to go in most places. But in so many of these countries, most of the products that are prohibited are also listed. What I have here that I'm not going to go through one after the other has to do with Nigeria. But if you ask yourself the question whether you are export ready, even as an individual or a company in any country that you are, you have to think about the readiness around your company, around products, markets, logistics, finances, what you do about costing and pricing, even the legal aspects of it that should take care of the risk that could arise from exports. What are the company export readiness that you should look at? You talk about whether your company is fully ready to go into the business of export. Does it have a business plan? What are your objectives? Are they clear enough? If they are these the things that you can achieve easily? In that export plan that you're having to, you have to make room to improve on what your workers, what your staff have to offer in terms of knowledge. In looking at products export readiness, you have to see that you are competing in around the products that you have comparative advantage. Are the products available? Have you done enough research to see that you always have constant supply of these products? What is the share of the product that you are looking at in the domestic and foreign markets? Do you have your prices right? Because you are going into a comparative world. Because you need to see that you can fight comparatively with your other competitors. Is there any training that you need to give to your manufacturers, or you yourself must take? The other one is looking at what the market readiness should be talking about. Whether you've successfully tried your product in the local market, because before you swim in the ocean, you should be able to try your hands in the river and see that you've conquered that. Have you done a research on the target markets? Such a research should be able to tell you what the products are that are in demand. What are the kinds of packaging that you need to do? Even the color schemes in the packaging that you are doing, and the demographic nature of the country that you are looking at. How much expertise do you have about packaging that I've talked about? And then what are your personal marketing skills? Talk about the use of ICT to deploy whatever you want to sell that you have in stock. There are also other forms of export readiness. You have to be conversant with the procedures and documentation. And to start with one of these, Victor, most of it Victor has mentioned, including having to register with the statutory body that takes care of exportation business. What do you know about costing and pricing of your products? Who is going to finance the product that you must sell, that you have to sell? In the logistics chain, have you been able to find a reputable hand that you can outsource that to handle for you, because you cannot do everything? What are the risks and legal issues involved in all this? For the legal issues, it's advisable that you must look for and secure the services of somebody outside the shores of your country to be able to, until you master what you need to do. I sum this up by saying that you can run what we call an export readiness checker through export registration, export plan, understanding the markets that you have in view, export procedures and documentation, logistics and freight works, pricing, financing, and legal issues that I've mentioned. This is like a bonus, but it talks around being export ready, why you are active in what you're doing, which is actually what African countries need to do. They must create a will and deal with issues that has to do both the country, the leadership, and all to be able to penetrate and trade among others. What are the critical success factors for exports? It doesn't matter that the volume of trade amongst us is very little now, but you have to think big and start small. Whatever African countries need to do amongst themselves, they don't have to wait till there are very gigantic export transactions that they will do. You have to build trust and integrity. I think these are not talking directly to the being export ready, but when you add them up, they are critical for success in export business. I have also talked about the collaborations and alliances to leverage on the shared services that are available in each of the countries. I think the chairman also talked about this, and it's very important. To succeed in export business too, you should emphasize quality and then comply to it. Know the quality and certification that exists in each of the countries that you are going into. You should have a strong market and marketing presence that I've talked about on the print and electronic media, and especially other media, which has taken over the space in marketing. The challenges of non-oil exports that I've spoken about, I think it crosses all the nations that we have in Africa. I want to also say before I conclude that what has happened today, the forum that we are talking to now is a welcome one. But an export business, for it to be okay for us all, you have to know that it's reliable. I've mentioned that it is one of the ways to go, especially for developing countries, Africa inclusive. But we should be prepared so that we avoid mistakes, especially common mistakes. International trade procedures are always changing. For Africans to trade even among themselves, since it's international trade, they also need to keep to these rules. Exports and exporters need to keep up to date with current requirements, because successful companies rely on and invest in information sourcing and other. I want to also say that I've mentioned awareness, leveraging on one another amongst ourselves to get things done. I think that is very key because it leads to networking. We have to really pay attention to the value chains in export. That is what most African countries are not too used to, because they apply some level of levity sometimes because we think we can cut corners. I also think that the idea of having a trade mission in May 23rd, 24th is a great one, because I see it as a continental retreat. In fact, I should suggest that part of it should be regional before the continental thing that we are doing. NEPC is ready to join hands with other trade promotion organizations in Africa to see to it that Africa can stand on its own to benefit from AfCFTA. As I've said, an iron will is needed, not just from the exporters, not just from our leaders, but from all of us. Thank you very much for the opportunity to make this presentation, because you cannot do today's job with yesterday's method, and then you think you can be in the business of tomorrow, which is exportation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. An elderly man will always be an elderly man in Africa. You cannot do without the programs, and that was great word of wisdom. We cannot keep doing what we used to do yesterday if we must forge ahead for tomorrow. Thank you so much, sir. And we are here to leverage on that partnership that you have offered and extended. Both the Borderless Trade Network and the Egyptian African Businessmen Association will be reaching out to you for future collaborations. And we don't mind if you would, through your office, help us spread the word for this trade mission on the 23rd and 24th of May, because I know you also have access to this collection of SMEs and organizations and in Nigeria. So please, we'll do a proper letter to you. We'll do a proper letter. Kindly help us spread the word to the organizations that registered with you that there's a trade mission in Egypt in the month of May, and we're looking forward to having them there. Awesome. Thank you so much for the charge. I believe that everyone who's been on this call so far has. Are you here, sir? You want to say something, Mr. Joe?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, sir. You are muted now, sir. We can't hear you. Mr. Joe, you are muted if you're talking. All right. So I'm sure everyone who has stayed on so far, okay, you're back. Welcome back, sir. Please unmute yourself. Mr. Joe, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Tosin. I wanted to comment on the trade mission issue. Maybe we can have a chat and we get to know what is the full involvement in this, because we.
Oh, the network is misbehaving. Mr. Victor, I see your hand up. You have a question?
Yeah, yes, the system keeps going off. It started misbehaving, sorry. So yes. I'm running off. I said you have to maybe do us a formal letter after we've chatted. And then I hope the summary that will come out of this will be shared. We love to work as a government place. We love to work with papers or with information. Let me not just say papers, because if you do a communique, a summary from all the speakers and what are the way forwards that you are suggesting, it will aid us to take a decision on even the trade mission. We are ready to see how we galvanize this, how we coordinate and get it to happen, especially just coming back from Cairo and making a trade hub there. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. You'll definitely be hearing from us. Mr. Victor has his hand up for a while now. It looks like he has a question for you. Mr. Victor, you have a question?
No, don't worry.
Okay, great.
No, I'm fine.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Everyone who has just hanging his hands there.
Thank you. For everyone who has stayed on so far, I'm so sure you've gotten enough value on export readiness and maximizing opportunity in AfCFTA. But like I said, we're here for you. This is not just a one-time conversation, it's just an initiation of the conversation. We're ready to work with you until your export business becomes a reality. Mr. Shehu is the next person, and it looks like he just dropped off the line. Okay, I hope he gets back in. I'm believing that is network Mr. Shehu, if you can hear us, please come back. Okay. I'll reach out to him quickly. So yeah, for everyone who's been online so far, I believe that you have gotten some form of value and it's been an awesome time. But lastly, but not the least, we have Mr. Shehu Abdulkadir, the CEO, MD of Abuja Enterprise Agency here in Abuja. Abuja Enterprise Agency is a one-stop shop for everything, anything that has to do with businesses. At the agency, you have the NEPC, you have CAC, you have all kinds of relevant agencies that you need. And we can't wait to hear from him. Just give me a moment, people. I'm trying to reach out to him. We can't wait to hear from him. But in the meantime, okay, I can't read his profile behind him. I would like for him to be here. Can I ask any of our audience, do you have any? Okay, he's back. Great. Yeah, welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much, Tosin.
Okay, so I'll just quickly read your profile and then we hear from you. Mr. Shehu Abdulkadir is a member of the Nigerian Institute of Management. He's an international professional a member of the International Professional Managers Association UK, a certified international professional manager, CIPM, and he has a lot of certifications and awards as well. Please just allow me to paraphrase. He's the current, like I said earlier, the current MD CEO of the Abuja Enterprise Agency. He has served on the board of notable organizations such as the National Tourism Development Corporation, Halal, Credit Microfinance Bank, FCT Microfinance Bank, and special advisor to the Honorable Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. He's also a member of the team, Abuja, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. He's currently the acting managing director of the Abuja Enterprise Agency. Once again, I want to say a big welcome to you, sir. It's good to have you. Please, I know you're very busy and we are catching you on the road, but thank you for still honoring our invites. We're happy to have you. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tosin, for the invite. You can give me just a few seconds to share my slide.
Thank you, Mr. Joe, for sharing your contact. We'll definitely be reaching out to you. Please, audience, if you have any questions, kindly drop them in the chat. We'll be glad to take your questions. We'll be very happy to take your questions. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know whether my screen is on this screen.
We can see your screens clearly, sir.
Okay, so good evening all. Dr. Osharawi, Tosin, and other distinguished personalities. I would like to say a very big thank you to Tosin for extending this invite to be part of this noble gathering. I would like to say that this gathering is very apt. Discussion on the AfCFTA can never be overemphasized. For us here in Abuja Enterprise Agency, I would like to say that the AfCFTA is on our front burner. We had several expo with the theme on the AfCFTA. And I would like
We ask that the network cooperates with us as we round up from here now. Please, I'm sure he's having some network challenges. Just bear with us. He should be back on shortly.
These are our services. I won't bore much, but most critically is providing access to finance, access to market, which are very apt in this presentation we are having today. We have a very giant goal towards supporting enterprises in Abuja and beyond, and creating over 250 businesses within the next 5 years. It will be very much interesting to understand the landscape of the SME ecosystem in Nigeria. Nigeria is blessed with a very large and diverse population with SME figure of 41.5 million SMEs in Nigeria, which is a very big one. The SME contributes over 50% of GDP in Nigeria, but sadly, as you can see from the figures, the export level is just 7.64%. These are the key challenges SMEs are facing in Nigeria, which is, I would say, global. Most of African countries are facing the same, especially access to market, access to finance, which are very critical and apt to this presentation we're having today. I would like to just dwell more on the SME one-stop shop that we have in Abuja Enterprise Agency. The SME one-stop shop is established by His Excellency, the Vice President, with 14 regulatory agencies under one roof to bridge the information gap between entrepreneurs and relevant federal government agencies. We have agencies like the NEPC in the one-stop shop. They provide you with export support services. We have the Nafta towards facilitating and ensuring your business product, especially if you're into food, and also export based. It is very important to note that all these 14 regulatory agencies provide advocacy services, especially 3 agencies, which are the NEPC, the SON, and the NAFTA. They identify the export potentials that are there in other countries, and they give SMEs the need, based on need to know basis, information on how to take their businesses. Aside that, the Abuja Enterprise Agency, we've developed an e-commerce platform that will leverage, exports. I'm very happy when we visited Mr. Francis Anatogu's office sometimes last month. He informed us they're doing something together in that perspective. It is apt to say that e-commerce is the way to go about it. And I'm very happy with this trade mission that EABA is organizing in May. It's very apt, and we'll be very willing to share the details of the trade mission to our team in SMEs. From inception to date, we've been able to reach out to over 100,000 SMEs in Abuja and beyond. And I believe we'll have numerous of them that will be willing to participate in the trade mission. A very good thing that One Stop Shop does is preparing the SMEs for export, especially with regards to the necessary documentation. Is it with Nexim? Is it with the NEPC? Is it with SON? Is it with the NAFDAC? And also company registration. it will interest you to note that just last month, we facilitated businesses to ensure that they are formalized and they can, start preparing themselves for exports. One important aspect that the one-stop shop serves is the information flow. I'm very sure that if the one-stop shop was in existence sometimes back, Mr. Victor could have found it very easy to start his export business beyond this time, because we're going to support him with how he can improve his quality with SON and how he can meet up with standards with regards to Nafta and NEPC and other relevant agencies. I would like to say thank you very much. I don't want to take much time. I believe most of Nigerians want to go and catch up with the match between Nigeria and Ghana. Dr. El Sharawi, I know Egypt has qualified with the winning of Sierra Leone by 1-0. So thank you very much all. Looking forward to further engagement and looking forward to seeing all of you in the trade mission in May. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So we would know this evening whether it is Ghana Jollof or the Nigerian Jollof that is winning. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so great one there. I have just one question for you, sir. How do we replicate these one-stop shops across Nigeria? Because it's a very important thing. You find out that a lot of people have fantastic products, but they have bottlenecks when it comes to getting proper documentation. They don't even have the money to come to Abuja to come and get some of these things done. And we have most of these traders in the Ogbomoso, in Bayelsa, in Warri, up there in the north as well. How can we have these one-stop shops, these hubs, closer to the people that really need them, that have fantastic products that get to rot away because they don't know what to do in exporting them, or they don't have the right documentation, or they don't even have the money? So how do we move these things from the center of the city to the suburbs where they're actually needed?
For us, what we do what we call outreaches. We go to the rural areas, especially we've done successful outreaches in over 60 communities in the FCT. One important milestone in that perspective is with regards to the One Village, One Product initiative, which we've identified.
Okay, the network is acting up now.
In 3 villages in the 3 communities of shea butter. We've trained them on even the picking, the drying, the frying, and others. And now we're trying to upskill them to see how they can export this shea butter to across the country, rather than exporting the shea nuts to Ghana, and from Ghana it will be shipped out as Ghanaian shea nuts. And aside that, we've done that successfully also with the community in Kwali Area Council, where they have abundant supply of cassava. We supported the community with the processing machine, water supply, and the needed support to ensure that their products and services are exported. So that's the little that we do in trying to bring the people within the suburb to the city, and from the city, I will say, to exporting their businesses.
Awesome, fantastic. Thank you so much, sir. So I want to ask again, do we have something like an AEA in Lagos? Do we have in Ogun State? Do we have in South? Or is it just Abuja?
In Lagos, we have the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. They do similar work like AEA. And in various states of the Federation, you have similar agencies, but some, they don't have it. But we have successfully supported Sokoto State in creating the Sokoto Enterprise Development Agency. And it's something that we're willing to partner with other states toward the creation of similar agencies to support and nurture the development of small and medium enterprises across the country. We've been on ground for over 16 years and we're still rolling. And we believe with this initiative like the trade mission that we're going to have, we're going to impact more on the SMEs and upskilling them, upscaling their capacity to interact with the global players, most importantly, African countries.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, sir. Very, very important. Thank you so much. I hope everyone we're hearing. So look for the ones in your communities, in your states, and of course, other states that are listening. There's an opportunity for collaboration here. Please grab it and maximize it. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been an amazing time. I don't want to keep people waiting. It's past 6 already, and people are ready to watch their football here in Nigeria. May the best team win. Of course, I'm rooting for Nigeria. And thank you so much, Mr. Victor. Thank you so much, Dr. Oloriboye Ajayi. Thank you, Mr. Francis. Thank you, Mr. Joe. Thank you, Mr. Sheu. Thank you so much, our interpreter. Thank you, Noah. Thank you, our very own chairman, Dr. Yusre. I don't know if you have a word to say as we round up this evening. We have come to the end of this evening's session. We're going to, of course, come up with a communique. We're going to continue to partner with these relevant agencies and make sure that everybody is export ready and they're ready to maximize and leverage the opportunities in NAFTA. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming again this evening. Have a blessed evening. Goodbye from us from now.